question, 0.1%, it was in line. On the back of retail sales, it tells us it's not just exports though, right?
The retail sales figure was positive, but we have to keep in mind that that comes a year after the introduction of a much higher VAT rate. So it's because of easier comparative basis a year ago. It is mainly an export-driven recovery, what we're seeing in Spain. The domestic economy is stabilizing, which is good, but that stabilization is now allowing the growth in exports, which has been there for quite a while, to take the economy out of recession overall. And I think the next step will be for investment to return in Spain.
And when's that going to come?
Well, the ECB's monetary policy is showing signs of real transmission into Spain. The interest rates in Spain are coming down. Government bonds are around the 4% level now for 10 years. Business should also benefit from that. So as the ECB's monetary policy is working, confidence is returning, and the export boom is being maintained, I think investment can return in next year.
We've got an Italian auction today, €6 billion of 5 and 10 years. I mean, yields have been coming down. Are we being lulled into a false sense of security?
Well, the ECB has been quite successful, if you want, with its forward guidance policy. Back in May or in June, when interest rates had been rising sharply after the Fed started its tapering discussions, the ECB, and not just the ECB, came in with these statements that interest rates would stay low. And ever since, interest rates, especially in the periphery, have been declining, obviously helped by some weaker economic data from the US. But it's also that going forward into next year, the worst of austerity seems to be past in terms of budgets, in terms of fiscal numbers. So growth is returning, and that is helping bond markets to produce lower yields, borrowing costs for these countries in the Eurozone periphery as well. I don't think it's a lull. I think this is a long-term trend.
German jobless out later. What are your expectations there? And inflation numbers as well, I believe, from Germany.
Well, we've already actually had the most important figure for Germany, and that's employment rather than unemployment. Unemployment hasn't really gone anywhere in Germany over the last year or so, mainly because we've hit pretty much a bottom. But job creation is continuing, so German companies are creating new jobs, but they're not hiring out of the pool of unemployed, but they're hiring foreigners and out of the silent reserve, women especially. In terms of inflation, probably no change, 1.4% on the national measure, 1.5% on the European measure. German inflation is, helped at the moment by relatively low energy prices and falling food prices after they had been quite high. At the same time, economic growth is back, and that supports inflation a little bit. So net is probably going to stay unchanged.